Welcome back to the rock band Iceberg. This is part 2, where we will be covering the latter half of this iceberg, created by yours truly by combining 2 existing icebergs found on the rock band subreddit. If you are not sure what either rock band or an iceberg is, allow me to give you a crash course. Rock Band is a 2007 music rhythm game developed by Harmonix, the studio famous for their recent work on Fortnite Festival. It was critically and commercially successful with many sequels and spin-offs that were released to similar acclaim. And an iceberg is a tiered list that is typically focused on a specific subject. Each tier features entries ranging from facts, trivia, or anything in between. And as you go lower through each tier, the entries get more and more obscure. If you haven't seen part 1 of the Rock Band Iceberg, I do have it linked in the description as well as in the card at the top right of the screen, so feel free to check it out if you'd like. Though, if you ask me, I think you'd probably be perfectly fine starting here because since we're now halfway through the iceberg, this is where things start to get more obscure and, in turn, more interesting. With that said, let's start off with an entry that genuinely surprised me. This is Pet Sounds. Rock Band 3 is well known for having a song by the Beach Boys, a live version of Good Vibrations. Outside of this one song, there were no other Beach Boys songs ever made available in the games. However, there were apparently plans for more Beach Boys songs to be introduced into the game. According to a former Harmonix employee, the entirety of the band's album Pet Sounds was in the cards for DLC in Rock Band 3. Now, whether it was finished up, being worked on, or simply just something they wanted to work on is entirely up in the air. Hangar 18 LEGO Rock Band. Just like in all of the other mainline Rock Band games, LEGO Rock Band also has a song store. However, the only songs that are available to purchase from there and to be played in the game are the ones that are labeled as family-friendly. Hangar 18, a song by the heavy metal band Megadeth, is labeled as family-friendly, making it suitable for the game. Now, it's not a vulgar song by any means, but I guess just the idea of lyrics about UFOs and alien conspiracies being sung by LEGO minifigs is a funny mental image, and is likely the reason that it's on this iceberg. For what it's worth, you can make actual aliens sing the song, so I guess it works out pretty good. LEGO Blur. Now, speaking of LEGO Rock Band, the entire band Blur is included in the game, LEGO Minifigified and Ready to Block. Their most famous song, Song 2, is also included in the track list as well, which is what they play on. And yeah, I think that's about it for this entry. This one right here. In 2011, a band by the name of released a song on the Rock Band network called The song, if you can even call it that, is really nothing special, being just Baby's first xylophone solo. The only instrument available is keys, so if you spend $1 on this song hoping to play with 3 of your buddies, I don't know what to tell you. I would say get a refund, but maybe an MRI is more urgent. The interesting thing about that is that due to the eccentric name of this song and artist, it shows right at the top of the song list if you're looking alphabetically. Also, despite the artist being the song's composer actually goes by Magnet, who also had a hand in some other Rock Band Network songs like Death by Cancer by Seppuku with the Straw and Splitting Time by Nuke Wrath Tech. Interesting portfolio. Backspacer Deluxe Edition. The deluxe edition of Pearl Jam's 2009 album Backspacer included a code to download the full album for Rock Band. That's a great bundle and a good experience. For an incredible value, you get $12 worth of Rock Band DLC practically for free. I really wish more artists did that back then. Pearl Jam Live Rock Band. Alright, continuing the Pearl Jam theme, so just like how there was a track pack released featuring live songs from AC/DC, the band Pearl Jam was also meant to get the same treatment in the form of Pearl Jam Live Rock Band. What was interesting is that the band and Harmonix partnered with Rhapsody in an effort to gauge what songs should get into the game, allowing fans to vote with their listens on up to 40 songs. Sadly, the track pack never came to be and disappeared into the night, just like Rock Band Japan. The list of these songs is actually up and out there on the internet, if you want to look at what could have been. Just for Tonight, Lego Rock Band. Just for Tonight, a song by One Night Only, was supposed to be included in the on-disc setlist of Lego Rock Band, but didn't quite make it, only leaving behind the audio and MIDI track in the game files. It would eventually be released as DLC a year after Lego Rock Band came out. And it's family friendly too, which means that you could buy it in the in-game store for Lego Rock Band and play it there. Cherry Lips in Rock Band. A sound file of the first verse of Cherry Lips by Garbage is left on the disc of Lego Rock Band, likely hinting that the song was meant to come out as DLC for Rock Band as a whole at some point, but never did. Curiously, the song was actually included on one of Harmonix's earlier games, Amplitude, so maybe they still have the master tracks and decided to use it just for testing? I say that because the contents of the song would not fit at all in a family-friendly E-rated Lego game. Rock Band 3 Song Tiers. In every game starting from the first, each song has difficulty ratings for every instrument, as well as an overall band difficulty rating. With some exceptions, these have been a good simple indicator for just how hard a song can be. However, with Rock Band 3, Harmonix decided that making sense didn't make any sense anymore. Throughout the entire setlist, ratings are just all over the place. The most infamous offender that people point to is the normal guitar tiering for the song Antibodies. With its unusual, hard-to-grasp strumming pattern, this is a song that does not belong anywhere in Tier 2. It probably could have swapped places with Walk of Life, a song that is in Tier 7, the highest difficulty tier in the game, by the way. Do you think this is something only the devil can play? As a novice of these games, this song, I feel, could probably be Tier 1, maybe a little higher if you want. The tiering for these games was always going to be odd, especially as time goes on and more songs are added and players just naturally getting better at everything, but this is ridiculous. There have been numerous theories throughout the years, but in the year of our Lord 2026, we may have finally figured out why Rock Band 3's tiering is so freaking weird. During the February 25th episode of Lore Hero, a podcast that centers around Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and other music game fandom stuff, the hosts shared some information that was divulged by community member Caped Strawberry that apparently everything in Rock Band 3 was tiered based on a single employee going through every song, through every instrument, on medium difficulty. I feel like after learning about this, everything makes even less sense. Also, let's just ignore the medium difficulty tidbit. Did this dude have to play through every instrument and all of the pro versions of the instruments? Holy shit! No wonder they don't make any sense. That guy must have gone insane during all of this. Rock Band board game. On April 1st of 2012, Harmonix released a video announcing their first foray into the tabletop game industry with the board game Rock Band Board Game! The board itself bears a striking resemblance to Monopoly, and the game boasted features ripped straight from its video game counterpart like the character creator, potential stage kick compatibility, and even auto-calibration. Well, what the f***? Yeah, you were likely able to suss out that this was just all a little silly April Fool's joke, which Harmonix are known for doing, like the meow mode from the previous Iceberg video. It's one of their funnier April Fool's jokes, I won't lie, and the video itself oozes 90s cheese. Because it's a joke, there is no real board game, but the board is out there to download courtesy of Harmonix, so some madman could make Rock Band board game a reality. Metropolis Whammy Bug. In Rock Band 4, if you play the song Metropolis Part 1 on bass, you have the potential to severely mess everything up. By hitting the first note and holding down the whammy bar for a certain length of time, the game will just freeze up on you. Only after you release the note will the game decide to start back up again. I tried my best to replicate the bug, but it wouldn't happen, so it seems like this was fixed a while back. Since it was originally posted about like 10 years ago, not much of a surprise. Howdy, Boston. When you're playing the career mode as a vocalist in Rock Band 4, you get a cute little moment before starting a song to say hello to the crowd. one of the things that you're able to say is "Howdy Boston," which some people found incredibly entertaining for some reason. It's also worth noting too that Boston, Massachusetts is where Harmonix was established and currently located. So there is some history behind that too. Fortnite Festival upgraded instrument charts. With the introduction of Pro modes, Fortnite Festival's songs got proper guitar and bass charts, just like in Harmonix's Rock Band games. In fact, songs that were featured in both the two games sometimes shared the exact same charts note for note. Considering they are the same type of modes, it only makes the most sense to do that to help save time, but some songs actually did get upgraded charts that put them more in line with modern rock band charting. Some of the changes are subtle and some are much more drastic, like the charting of Carry On My Wayward Son's organ solo to guitar. Nearly all of these changes help to make the songs feel fresh, especially the ones that have been there since Rock Band 1. Bandfuse. Bandfuse is a game kinda like Rocksmith and Rock Band 3's Pro modes, where you learn actual guitar tabs of songs via the magic of gaming. It has a pretty good setlist, as well as the likenesses of many famous guitarists like Slash and Bootsy Collins. Anyways, the game is on this iceberg because, believe it or not, Harmonix was fairly involved with this game. It seems they helped out the developers by providing input on gameplay, and they also allowed them to use the instrument icons and the vocal highway design for Bandfuse. Goodwood mods. These were mods made primarily to Rock Band drum sets that ranged from head replacements to structural supports that keep the drums from wiggling during gameplay. The mods were incredibly popular back in the day due to just how much they improved a drum set's responsiveness and reliability, especially for the ones from Rock Band 1. Not to mention, they low-key looked kinda cool, especially those drum heads. Now, Goodwood mods doesn't exist anymore, so the only way that you'd be able to get a hold of these mods is from secondhand, which may be next to impossible now. Harmonix presents Valentine's Day Duet Pack. In February of 2011, Harmonix released a DLC pack to coincide with Valentine's Day. Along with this release, they also put up a song preview video that was rather unique. It was less focused on showing off the charts and more focused on being the first thing I see on TV when I wake up at 2 a.m. The video is so full of that 2000s commercial charm, and while the songs they released for the pack were pretty good, I think this video may by far be the best thing out of this DLC drop. The Story of Rock Band. The Story of Rock Band is a small retrospective video uploaded in 2013 by Harmonix. It coincided with the release of Rock Band's last scheduled DLC at the time, Don McLean's American Pie, and it goes over the history of the series with anecdotes and stories from Harmonix employees. All of this is accompanied by footage of said employees playing the song in the game. Though the video is less than 5 minutes long, it still manages to hold an immense amount of emotion and sincerity to make any Rock Band player pop at least a single goosebump. They used this moment not to revel in sadness, but instead as a chance to reminisce and see the impact that this short series of games made on the world, punctuated with a morsel of hope. American Pie may have been the end of weekly DLC, but it's not the end of the series. And Harmonix kept to their word. Can't say the same nowadays, though. Milo Hacks. Milo Hacks are a team of modders known for their work on several mods for both Guitar Hero and the Rock Band games, focused on bringing fixes, enhancements, and numerous other quality of life features to the games. Their work on the Rock Band series includes deluxe mods for 2, 3, and 4, with Rock Band 3 Deluxe being their main focus. I cannot personally recommend these mods enough. They are the only way that I play these games now. If you are capable of making use of these mods, whether it be through modded consoles or emulation, then you absolutely need to. Especially if you are a regular Rock Band 2, 3, or 4 player. Go support Milo Hacks, they honestly deserve it. Rock Band 3 setlist leak. Before Rock Band 3's release, a video surfaced on YouTube that supposedly leaked the entire setlist for the upcoming game. Harmonix, in an effort to extinguish the flames wafted by all of this hot news, released a video in response to all of the press and coverage by stating that it was all just a lie, a ruse, a fib, created by some wolf crier with nothing better to do with their time but spread fake news. All while scrolling through the game's setlist in the background, confirming the leak. A classic case of Harmonix being cheeky and playing into the joke, while officially announcing the setlist. Old Navy Rock Band promo, an Old Navy deal, which was held on a Black Friday and offered a free copy of Lego Rock Band with a $20 minimum purchase, which is an incredible deal. That's like a $40 saving, and you get some plain but still somewhat trendy clothing. Yacht Rock Twitter fight. In 2018, Harmonix released Yacht Rock Pack 1. It contained 3 songs: Little River Band's Reminiscing, Looking Glass's Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, and Players' Baby Come Back. All 3 are great songs, but the announcement of this seemed to bring a bit of heat from, who would have guessed, Twitter. People were ragging on the pack, calling the choices absolutely poor, not real yacht rock, etc., etc. It even got to the point where I guess what we're going to be calling the quote-unquote official yacht rock Twitter account got into the scuffle along with everybody else. Harmonix even replied to them too. Granted, this kind of reaction isn't really anything new for DLC announcements. I just think the ridiculousness of the situation, as well as the quote-unquote official yacht rock Twitter account being there, made it noteworthy. And this is sort of slightly off topic, but Harmonix made a cute song preview video for this pack where everything just slowly gets more and more yacht rockified as it goes on. Who's Next DLC. The entirety of the Who's album, Who's Next, was planned for DLC, with Harmonix confident enough to share these plans with the public. It was intended to be the first full album DLC, but due to difficulties finding the master tracks for certain songs, the release was scrapped. In its place, Harmonix released a pack called the Best of the Who Rock Band Edition, which was a greatest hits collection of Who songs rather than a single album. Harmonix even received help from some of the surviving band members when curating the pack, going through all of the available masters and songs that they had on hand. Now, I'm not the biggest Who fan, but hearing plans for something as big as this falling through is a bit depressing. At least they were able to salvage it and even release some of those songs from the album in the pack. The Indefinite DLC Sale. When Rock Band DLC went on hiatus after American Pie's release, Harmonix set the price of all pre-Rock Band 3 DLC as half off. Single songs, albums, packs, you name it, everything was halved, and it was permanent. Like I said, it was pre-Rock Band 3, so you're not getting anything cool like The Doors or Elton John or whatever, but Rock Band 1 and 3 was prolific with its DLC output, so the selection was still incredibly massive. Sadly, I kinda lied because this sale wasn't entirely permanent. When Rock Band 4 came out, Harmonix set the prices for everything back to normal, so it lasted about like 2 years or so. Probably enough for most fans to take advantage of it. I also learned very recently that during the time that this sale was happening, Harmonix did a live stream where some dude, willing or not, read off every single song included in said sale. Keep in mind, that's over 1,000 songs in the Rock Band 1 and 2 DLC time alone.
Head over feet. Alice Cooper, vengeance is mine.
I really hope they gave this dude a raise afterwards. Or therapy. Penny Arcade Guitar. In collaboration with PAX, the Penny Arcade Expo, Harmonix released a Rock Band 4 Stratocaster that was only available for purchase at PAX in 2015. It has an off-white, somewhat cream color for the body, and features art of Gabe from the Penny Arcade comic. Since it was only available at PAX, numbers for this guitar are expectedly very low, making this one of the rarer instruments that you can get. It is also pretty significant in that this was the one and only time this body color was used for the Stratocaster. I've looked around online and everything and cannot find a single other guitar with this color, so that's pretty cool. Guitar Hero World Tour Overlap. In 2008, Rock Band 2 came out for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the Wii. 2008 also happens to be the same year that Guitar Hero World Tour came out. Sharing a release year is an inevitability, but these share more than just that. A lot more. 14 of the songs on Rock Band 2's setlist are also on World Tour's setlist. For two songs that have setlists with around 85 songs each, that is a lot of songs to have overlap. Maybe the labels had these songs for cheaper and Harmonix and Neversoft jumped at it together? Not sure. Certain songs showing up between the two is not uncommon. Guitar Hero 3 and Rock Band 1 shared some songs, but this was just the most egregious example of it. Solo repeat bug. In Rock Band 4, there is a glitch where, for some reason, a song may just start repeating during a guitar solo. Not just the guitar chart, but the entire song will just randomly replay a portion 1 or 2 more times. Then, just as abruptly as it happened, the song will go back to normal, like nothing even occurred. As you could expect, this threw leaderboards for a loop, so when it was fixed, scores were reset, and now everything is mostly back to how it should be. All You Need Is timed DLC. The Beatles' All You Need Is Love was originally a timed DLC song for Xbox 360, released the same day as the Beatles' Rock Band. Proceeds of the DLC songs were donated to Doctors Without Borders, making around $200,000 for the charity. The song was eventually brought over to PS3 and Wii, but I am not too sure if those DLC sales went to the charity as well, since it was stated that Microsoft was a part of the campaign, along with Apple Corps, MTV Games, and Harmonix. Don't Look Back in Anger GBO chord. The Oasis song Don't Look Back in Anger contains an incredibly unusual chord that requires you to hit the green, blue, and orange frets. This, as you could probably tell, is very awkward to pull off. Some people say the reason it was charted this way was to mimic how you would play the chord on a real guitar, which that's pretty awkward. Sadly, Harmonix didn't appreciate this approach towards realism since this was the first and the last time a chord like it was ever used in an official chart. They did not like it at all, and there is documented proof they didn't. If you look in the Rock Band Network authoring guides by Harmonix, they labeled this chord as one of a few illegal chords to never use in a chart. Sorta on and off topic, but a Rock Band Network song called Ready, Set, Stop by Venatica had a similar green, red, and orange chord in its guitar chart. Due to that, the song was pulled off the platform and never came back. It seems like Harmonix does not f**k around with this. Mass Effect collab. To promote the newest Mass Effect game at the time, Andromeda, Rock Band 4 got some items inspired by the series. You could dress up your rocker in the suit that the characters in Mass Effect wore, as well as use a bass guitar that is shaped like the Normandy spaceship that you pilot in the game. This collab happened around the same time as the Archer collab that I talked about in Part 1, but what makes the Mass Effect one more interesting is that Mass Effect is a series owned by EA, who played a part in the Rock Band series before the 4th entry. Rock Band 1 European songs. When Rock Band 1 was brought over to European territories, 9 songs were added to the setlist for the release. They were also made available as DLC for the American version around the same time as the European release. The tracks spanned a wide range of artists from all around the region, some with English lyrics and others in French or German. Due to being a part of the on-disc setlist, this allowed the songs to be exported to future games in the series, except for Rock Band 4, where every territory's export pack was unified, meaning the European songs were left at the wayside. Sorry Europe, that really kinda sucks. We have reached the final entry of Tier 5, and putting a bow on this tier, we have a very fascinating feel-good entry to look at. This is the Rock Band Harmonies Project. The Rock Band Harmonies project was a fan effort to patch vocal harmonies into all of the Rock Band 1 and 2 DLC, which were made before harmonies were introduced. They certainly had their work cut out for them, but despite that, they were able to make every relevant DLC compatible, along with including some additions like Pro Keys and Pro Guitar charts. Now, this is cool and all, but here's what's even cooler. With the release of Rock Band 4, Harmonix updated all of the vocal charts for Rock Band 1 and 2's DLC, as well as on-disc set lists with the Harmonies Project's charts, making these unofficial patches official. This might be the only time I've ever seen fans and developers collaborate to this insane degree. Props to you, Harmonix, and of course, props to all of the volunteers that spent their time making every one of those charts. Without you, harmonies being carried over to Rock Band 4 may have not been a thing, at least on day one. And that entry concludes Tier 5 of the Iceberg, and now we shall move on to Tier 6, meaning we go a little bit further down the iceberg and things get even more obscure. Starting Tier 6 off, we have the entry Hamronix. This is a misspelling of harmonics. Whether it originated by intent or accident is up for debate, but whatever the case, it's funny reading it, especially when you're just randomly going through Rock Band posts on Reddit or whatever. Also, there's this cute logo parody that someone made. I unfortunately don't know who made it, so if you did, please feel free to chime in the comments. It looks pretty damn good, not gonna lie. The Beatles Rock Band Big Rock Endings. The Beatles Rock Band does not have any songs with big rock endings. Despite that, though, the mechanic still exists in the game itself. It's just not on any of the official songs or DLC. This may have just been a holdover from the Rock Band 2 engine and nothing more, but it's still very, very neat. It also means that any custom tracks that are brought over to the Beatles Rock Band with big rock endings can work properly. Spectacular bonus DVD songs. As a promotion for the 2009 Nickelodeon movie Spectacular, Harmonix released 2 songs from the movie as DLC. A code to download the songs was also included on the DVD for the movie as a bonus. And this is actually not the first time that a Nickelodeon collaboration happened. In part 1, I talked about SpongeBob SquarePants having songs brought over to Rock Band. There was a Miranda Cosgrove song that was brought over, as well as the Naked Brothers Band. They had a song in there too, and this is not really too much of a surprise because MTV Games is a part of Viacom, but still neat nonetheless. Lego Iggy Pop. Former frontman of the Stooges, Iggy Pop, makes an appearance in Lego Rock Band with his band's song The Passenger in tow. Along with that, he also voices the game's tutorials this time around, continuing the sorta tradition of real-life rockers showing the plastic rockers the ropes.
Hey, this is Iggy Pop. I'm gonna teach you how to play guitar in Lego Rock Band.
Really wish they had a tutorial that shows us how to get rock-hard Lego abs like him. Jeez Louise, look at the shading on those. Beat Match Test 2.bic. This is a song that was used for testing that was just left in the files of Rock Band 3. Unlike some of the other testing files that we've encountered in the previous part of the Iceberg, this song seems to be an original creation. Where did it originate from? Was it made just for this? Its sole purpose and reason for existing to test matching beats? It's unknown. Now, if only we could find the prequel Beat Match Test 1.bic, maybe it would all start to make sense. Jukebox Mode. This was a mode that was planned to be included in Rock Band 2. Pretty much all it was the songs playing on their own without any instrument lanes or other UI elements. Think of it like a music player or a concert simulator that you could have going on in the background or whatever. Due to music rights being a bit different depending on whether you're just listening to a song or interacting with it, the mode was axed likely to keep costs down. And it was axed pretty late into development because I specifically remember it being promoted as a standout new feature in Rock Band 2. I feel like I even saw like screenshots of it appearing in the menus, but I'm not too sure. My memory could be a little hazy. Christmas Lego Rock Band DLC. Deep in the files of Limp Bizkit's song Build a Bridge are some extra textures and DTA files that pointed towards outfits for Lego Rock Band. The outfits are Christmas themed and let you make your minifig look like Santa Claus, an elf, a snowman, or a reindeer. In order to acquire the outfits, you had to own all 3 of the singles that came out that week, alongside Build a Bridge, which were A Lot Like Me by The Offspring and Ocean Avenue by Yellowcard. It was never mentioned by Harmonix directly, but according to their weekly DLC post, they really tried to hammer in the fact that these songs were family friendly and should be checked out in Lego Rock Band. Maybe they wanted it to be a little surprise, but I don't really truly know what they were thinking. They should have just been upfront and said that there were some extra presents in store if they bought all that week's singles. Eagle Eye cameo. Rock Band makes an appearance in the Shia LaBeouf-led movie Eagle Eye, with one of the Band in the Box bundles given as a birthday gift near the end of the film. The game is even mentioned by name in the dialogue.
Guys, look, it's Rock Band.
Now, it's not as integral to the plot as it was with Paul Blart Mall Cop, but still a neat appearance nonetheless. I personally recall going to see this movie and not caring that much all about it. It was about like AI or something, and Shia LaBeouf was like running away from it or something, so it's kind of topical now. Maybe not so much about Shia LaBeouf, but I was just too young to care. Then Rock Band showed up on the screen for like 5 seconds, and then that made the movie go from like a 0 to a 10 like instantly. Fortnite Festival Season 2 chart changes. Starting with Fortnite Festival's second season, players noticed that some changes were being made to the charts in-game, some major and some minor. It's not personally something that I may personally notice since I don't play Festival or even Rock Band in general that often, so charts kind of leave my mind pretty quickly. But I can imagine for a player that is super in tune with a song or songs, this might mess with them. If you yourself are curious about the changes, most if not all have been cataloged by the community. It's incredibly extensive, and they even kept track of changes made to pro vocals and pro drum charts, which aren't even modes that are accessible in the game yet. That is crazy. Rhythm Authors. Rhythm Authors are a group of charters that originally helped chart Rock Band Network songs for various labels, bands, or just anyone that wanted their songs on the platform. Their work did not go unnoticed though, as they were eventually brought in by Harmonix to officially chart songs during the Rock Band 4 era, and are still working with them to this day for Fortnite Festival. Talk about one hell of a promotion. Fade-outs. Fade-outs are not really a thing that exists in Rock Band. Since a fade-out wouldn't really make sense for a concert setting, songs tend to have definitive endings. However, a few songs have managed to squeak by into Rock Band with fade-outs, and it is just as weird to experience as you would think. Like I said, in a concert setting this makes literally no sense whatsoever, but also in a gameplay sense, it can be kinda tricky since if you can't hear what you're playing, it could lead to you missing a couple of notes. At least it did for me. Some notable songs with fade-outs are Hey Ya by Outkast and some of the songs from John Lennon's Imagine album. No X songs. When I say no X songs, I don't mean the band X. They actually have a few songs in the game as DLC. What I mean is there are no song titles that start with the letter X. On disc, as DLC, it doesn't matter. There are no X's to speak of. Seriously, go look in your game. You will find nothing. Okay, so I might be lying a little bit. There are 4 Rock Band Network songs that do start with the letter X, but I don't really count them just on the basis of them being Rock Band Network songs. You can find literally anything on there. I mean, dude, we talked about a song that had like a question mark and an exclamation point or whatever. Anything is possible. Also, 2 of them are just double bass charted versions of songs, which means there's really only 2 songs. And if we did decide to count those 2, that's 2 X songs out of what, nearly 5,000 songs in the entire series? There may as well have not been any to begin with. Anthology Rock Band Network. In 2011, Alien Ant Farm announced that the rest of their album Anthology will be coming to the Rock Band Network, along with some other additional songs of theirs. Their planned schedule was to release 3 songs quarterly until the album was complete, with Movies, Glow, and Courage being the first 3 to start it all out. Sadly, these 3 were the only things that came out from this announcement. My guess is that maybe there was some licensing issues with the label, since the band sounded legitimately excited about more of their work being featured in the game. Pepsi Stratocaster. During the Pepsi Rock Band promotion, which I talked about in part 1, Pepsi also held a giveaway for 30 Stratocasters themed after the soda. Now, it wasn't a giveaway in the typical sense, instead being given to 30 YouTubers that made Rock Band related content. According to a Redditor that was among the 30, they not only received the guitar, but also $400 in Microsoft points that were likely expected to be spent on Rock Band DLC. Also, additional info about the overall Pepsi Rock Band promotion that I personally found entertaining. Now, I talked about how bottle caps had codes that you could type into a website, which would then give you a code for DLC. That was the case for PS3 and Xbox 360. If your chosen platform was the Wii, since there were some limitations on what they could give in regards to codes for the Wii Shop channel, instead of getting DLC codes, you would just straight up get codes for Wii points. So, people would just rack up hella Wii points from bottle caps and then spend them on whatever they wanted, Rock Band or not. Dude, not Pepsi feeding into my virtual console game addiction. The Wii may have been inferior to the other consoles in some way, shapes, and forms, but sometimes that inferiority had some benefits to it. Battleborn collab. In collaboration with Gearbox Software, Harmonix brought over 2 characters from the game Battleborn into Rock Band 4 as rockers. You can buy them from the in-game store for the low price of free and then add them into your band, probably making the game most relevant it's ever been even at the time of its release. I'm talking about Battleborn, by the way. This is, I think, the 3rd collab so far between both Iceberg parts, and I'm noticing a pattern here with these collabs. They are so far out of left field. Archer, Fallout 4, Battleborn, none of these have any relevance with each other outside of the fact that they're in Rock Band 4. Now, I'm not sure why Harmonix decided to go this hard with cross-media promotion for 4. They didn't do this with other games in the series, but whatever, at least it's kinda funny. Ready for another weird collab? Scruff. In 2015, Rock Band had a collaboration event with Scruff, a dating app specifically aimed towards gay men. It required you to download the app and then RSVP for a Rock Band themed event inside of it. Doing so would net you a code for 1 free song, Bad Catholics by the Barbizons, who are apparently dead, at least according to their website. A shirt with the Scruff logo on it was also made available in the in-game shop for free around that same time. Probably most definitely the most out of left field collab so far. And as far as I know, this is the last weird collab on this iceberg. Nirvana Rock Band Network. Around 2009, Sub Pop Records stated that they were interested in bringing over some of their catalog to the service, which included Nirvana's earlier discography. Only 3 of their early songs were ever made available as official DLC, so this was some really good news for fans. However, just like every other Rock Band Network entry on this list, it was brought up once and then never again. Some of the other bands that Sub Pop mentioned that they would bring over, like the Shins, did get releases on the service, but Nirvana was just one of them that didn't. However, Nirvana fans wouldn't have to worry too much because Nirvana would still get more official Harmonix DLC releases, so there is a silver lining, but sadly, it's not a sliver lining. The Distance Rock Band 2. I couldn't find much about this entry, so I'll be fully going off of the explanation given by one of the Iceberg authors. The Distance is a song by the band Cake. It's a good song and perhaps the band's most popular song. Due to this, Harmonix wanted to put it in Rock Band 2, either as an on-disc song or as DLC. The band was not really down for this, saying that it will make them look like a one-hit wonder. They stood their ground against the song's inclusion, and it seems to have worked since it didn't show up on Rock Band 2 or any other Rock Band games after it. Supposedly, there was a picture that Cake posted on their website further demonstrating their protest against Harmonix's request, but the link that I found for it was dead, so I don't know. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl vocals. This is a song that I touched on briefly in the Yacht Rock entry earlier, but it has a bit more for us to discover, enough that I think that it deserves its own entry. As stated, it was a DLC song for Rock Band 4, and the version of the song that we get is the 1972 original, the one that you're likely familiar with. If you saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2, it's that one song near the beginning of the movie. Anyways, despite it being the original version, it has something that I have never heard before in all my years of listening to the song. During the latter half of the second verse and at the end of the third verse, there are harmonies that are nowhere in the original. Your guess is as good as mine for where they may have came from. It's equally as unhelpful that Harmonix said literally nothing about this, and doubly unhelpful that no one in general is talking about it. It truly feels like I'm the only person that either knows or cares about these extra harmonies in the song. So, here's my guess about what's going on here. These harmonies were probably something included on the master tracks or tapes that Harmonix received when working on the DLC for the song. Since the song does have proper stems, it's super plausible. As for why Harmonix didn't say anything, I don't know, but f*** them for making me agonize in isolation for this long. You know how long I had to wait to talk about this? It feels like I'm popping like the biggest pimple of mankind right now. It's just that fulfilling. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to flip out. Anything's vocal chart. Anything by an Endless Sporadic is a song on the Rock Band network. It is primarily an instrumental track, but in the middle of the song, voice clips from a news report are played, which the vocalist would then sing or, well, talk to. This was the first version of the song that would go up on the service. But it was pulled because, well, turns out, these voice clips were sampled from the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which they could not get the rights to for Rock Band Network. So another version of the song had to be put up without the news reporter clips. As a result of that, the new version of Anything no longer has a vocal part attached to it, meaning that vocalists will have to sit this one out. Rock and Roll Star, Here Comed Alex. These are two songs that have three things in common. First, they're both songs that were included on the European version of Rock Band 1. Second, because of that, they are both songs available as DLC. And third, they both have licensing issues. These songs are playable in Rock Band 1, Rock Band 2, Rock Band 4, but not Rock Band 3. I know it's a licensing issue, but why could they go to the first sequel but not the second sequel, but then the third sequel is in the clear? I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I think it has to do with the songs technically being on disc as well as DLC. There is this comment that explains it, and hell, we even got a post from an actual Harmonix employee from back then, but I don't know, man. I think my brain took a lunch break without telling anyone because I cannot compute anything at all. Shix DLC. Shix, the razor guys, the shaving cream guys, they also had a promotion with Rock Band. God, I thought I was already done with weird crossover shit. But yeah, they had a promotion with Rock Band where specially marked Shix products would have codes that could be redeemed to get 3 free songs. Not just any songs though, they were Rock Band Network songs. And the deal with these Rock Band Network songs is they were modified to have pro guitar, bass, and drums, which outside of pro drums just did not happen normally at all. These versions were also exclusive to this promo, so if you missed out, you missed out for good. The entirety of Rock Band Network delisted. Rock Band Network had a really rocky lifespan. Additional songs for the service was dropped for Wii in January of 2011 due to lack of demand as well as difficulty converting the songs for the platform. PS3 was next on the chopping block, being dropped in April 2013, likely because of similar issues. On Xbox 360 though, which is where Rock Band Network originated, it continued to get new songs for another couple months longer. In September of 2017, the service was entirely discontinued. It wasn't until a few months later in February of 2018 where the service was completely wiped off of all platforms, removing every single song that was made available through the service. Rock Band Network was incredibly popular, and there were quite a lot of songs that were released for it. On Xbox 360, there were over 2,000 songs released. On PS3, it was around 800, and on the Wii, it was around 100-ish. And sure, you could likely point out that many of the songs that were released were not great musically or charting-wise, but that is still a huge part of history just being totally trashed in one fell swoop. Considering everyone had likely moved on from Rock Band 3 and these older, outdated consoles, it is a smart business move on Harmonix's part, but it still stings. Thankfully, they would later announce that select Rock Band Network songs would get the DLC Rewind treatment in Rock Band 4. So, kinda like how they brought over Rock Band Network songs to PS3 and Wii back then, but even more selective. So, the network would live on. Don't Stop Believing's key track, lying in the files of Rock Band 3's retail release, is an unused audio file featuring the piano and synth from Don't Stop Believing by Journey. This is curious because the song was originally released as DLC for Rock Band 2, which, as we all know, did not have keys as an instrument. Along with this, in the files of a prototype for the Wii version, there exists text mentioning numerous songs that were expected to be a part of Rock Band 3 or have enhancements for them in the game, with Don't Stop Believing being one of them. The song even has a proper playable key chart with the stems and everything. Some of the songs and enhancements in the text were eventually added to the game via DLC, but unfortunately, the beloved Journey track was not a part of the fun. But an absolute shame, as it would have greatly benefited from the additional keys, harmonies, and maybe even pro guitar. I wouldn't put it past Harmonix. Footloose and Fancy Free. Footloose and Fancy Free by Bill Bruford's Earthworks was a song on the Rock Band Network that was notable for several reasons. It was one of the very few jazz songs that was made available in the game, and it had a very complex history on the network, being approved and made available on Rock Band Network before eventually getting removed permanently shortly thereafter, likely due to licensing reasons. And one of the other reasons why this was a standout track is that the saxophone in the song was charted to the vocals. So you would sing the notes that the saxophone was playing, with the lyrics being the key of the note. That is insanely creative. I've always wondered how close the charting was. Like if you were to play saxophone into the microphone, would it all match up? Someone's got to get on that ASAP. In a Big Country's intro and key chart. When In a Big Country by Big Country was featured in Rock Band 3, it arrived without its roughly 20-second drum solo intro as featured on the song's album version. It was also missing on the Guitar Hero version of the song, so here are my two theories. Theory number one is that the master tracks Harmonix and Neversoft were provided just didn't have the drum solo at all, whether intentionally omitted or they were just lost. Theory number two, and it's a pretty simple one, is that the intro was intentionally cut for time. Now, for the second part of this entry, it's talking about the fact that the key chart for the song is not actually charting out a keyboard at all. Instead, it's playing another guitar in the song, one that sounds vaguely like a keyboard, at least in the intro. Everywhere else in the song though, yeah, that's totally a guitar, dude. Gibson in Rock Band. It's a well-known fact that Rock Band is associated with Fender guitars and Guitar Hero with Gibson. And for the most part, that stayed true, except for very specific instances. If you pay very close attention in the band-specific Rock Band games, Gibson, Epiphone, and several of their guitars make appearances when historically applicable. I can only imagine how expensive and headache-inducing it must have been to get the rights for these guitars, just for a few small details. But sometimes the smallest details make the biggest impact. Nicki Minaj is an instrument. The song Starships by Nicki Minaj was made available as DLC for Rock Band 4, but unfortunately, Harmonix was not able to get a hold of the master tracks, so they had to make do with DIY stems, leading to some interesting side effects. If you whammied at all while playing on guitar, you could warp literally pretty much everything in the song, including Nicki Minaj herself, effectively making her the first ever sentient stringed instrument. This issue with DIY stems is something that persists with every other song that uses them, with varying degrees of badness, but this instance was notably funny. Rounding out everything, we have reached the final entry for Tier 6, Rock Band Sessions. Rock Band Sessions was the proposed sequel to Rock Band 3, one built on the engine and visual presentation of the third entry, but instead of playing music at a concert, it put players into the studio to make that music themselves. Think of it like a very dumbed down version of Fruity Loops or any other DAW like that, where you and up to 3 other people could work together to compose music with the game guiding you along the way. It went through numerous iterations that built upon and refined that idea, landing on a concept where players would choose an instrument, then play along with Harmonix created tracks, trying to create a part that would go well with the song. The game would then supposedly score you depending on how well you did. Of course, Rock Band Sessions never released, but IGN was able to get a chance to play it, show it off, and discuss the game's history with product manager Daniel Sussman. Mr. Sussman cited issues with audio latency, a lacking sound library and in-game tools, the unpredictability of the multiplayer aspect, and the game's lacking appeal for general audiences. People want to be a rock star on stage playing their favorite songs, not a rock star spending hours upon hours in a studio creating their own songs. I personally think it may have not been great as the 4th mainline entry of the series, but as a downloadable spin-off tool for those interested in getting started with music creation, it could have been wonderful, and I'm really sad that Harmonix never really went through with it. Time and time again, Harmonix has always tried to make something that would allow you to create music, and this could have been the best opportunity for them. And with that entry for Rock Band Sessions, we have completed the entirety of Tier 6, and we'll move further down the iceberg to Tier 7. Starting us off in Tier 7, we have a very interesting entry, Country Roads Secret Version. On December 22nd, 2020, John Denver's 1971 classic Take Me Home Country Roads was released on the Xbox Marketplace and PlayStation Store, an excellent early Christmas gift. Except this gift came with a slight defect. When it released, Xbox players got the original 1971 version that everyone knows, and PlayStation players got a re-recorded version from the 90s. 2 different versions for 2 different platforms. This obviously was not Harmonix's intention, so the song was pulled off of the store and then relisted in early 2021, with the original version in its place for PlayStation players. The weird thing is, it wasn't a simple audio mistake or anything. This was a wholly unique chart for the Country Roads re-record. How the hell does that happen? Well, my guess personally is that Harmonix may have had both versions of the song at the ready, just in case the rights for the original version didn't clear. But I guess someone accidentally flipped the wrong switch on PlayStation's end and put out the 1990s version. The re-record is no longer available on the PlayStation Store, of course, but thankfully it was preserved online and is playable in all of its fascinating alternate universe glory. Billy Joel DLC lore. In an episode of The Office that aired in May 2010, some characters talk about playing a fictitious rock band game called Billy Joel Rock Band, assumedly a band-centric entry similar to the Beatles and Green Day games. On an episode recap featured on EW, the writer of the recap remarks on this fictional game, saying that he hopes it never becomes a reality. This somehow managed to catch the eye as well as the ire of Billy Joel himself, who spoke about it in an interview with USA Today in October of that same year, stating that he got a hold of Harmonix and told them he wanted his songs on Rock Band yesterday. Billy Joel even went so far as to email the recap writer, telling them that he'll think of them every time he gets a royalty check. And that same month, it was announced that a whole 12-pack of Billy Joel songs would be coming out in December of 2010, and another pack coming out the following year. This interview and DLC announcement culminated with the writer of the recap writing another article for EW about the whole ordeal titled Billy Joel joins Rock Band 3 specifically to spite me. Strum test real guitar.bic. In the same way Beat Match Test 2.bic was discovered, Strum Test Real Guitar.bic was some testing files that were left on the disk for Rock Band 3. And in the same way, it was also an original instrumental. Going by the name, it was probably used to test out strumming with pro guitar and bass guitars. Neat stuff. Feeling alright. On the disc of Rock Band 3, there are audio tracks and other leftover files hinting that Traffic's song Feeling Alright was in the works for being included as either an on-disc song or maybe even DLC. Now, I'm not familiar with the song, but listening to it, it could have been a solid inclusion, especially in the Rock Band 3 era. Wired Stratocaster battery compartment. Unlike the PS2, PS3, and Wii versions of Rock Band 1, the Xbox 360 version shipped with a wired version of the Stratocaster controller. Outside of having to physically be connected to the console, it is exactly the same as the wireless model. Perhaps a bit too much. If you look at the back of any wired Xbox Stratocaster, you'll see that there is actually a battery compartment on it. Whoa, does this mean that every wired Stratocaster is secretly a wireless guitar that you can convert by putting in some batteries? No, of course not. The battery compartment is only here because the manufacturers, I'm assuming, use the same mold as the wireless guitar, likely to save on development costs. But no lie, when I was a kid, I actually fooled myself into thinking that it was actually a secret wireless guitar. I remember trying to look up tutorials on how to convert it, and I'd trial and error every possible way that I could, and I'd plug in the guitar and turn it on, put in the batteries, then I'd unplug the guitar, thinking I'd like fool the controller into like staying connected wirelessly or whatever. God, I was such a dumb kid. Footloose's intro. Just like the entry for In a Big Country, the album version intro for Kenny Loggins' Footloose is not present in the Rock Band version. Where Footloose differs from In a Big Country is that this shortened intro is from the single version of the song. My guesses are largely similar in that it was either cut for brevity or the album version's intro was not included in the master tracks that Harmonix received. Considering the single version of Footloose is the one people are most likely familiar with, the intro's absence isn't as sorely felt as it was with In a Big Country. Rock Band Cometh. This was a Rock Band mockumentary released by VH1 that was made to promote the release of the first Rock Band game. It followed a band that played Rock Band called the Rock Band Band on their way to plastic instrument stardom, with many musicians and other figures from rock history providing additional anecdotes throughout. It was an indirect parody of VH1's own Behind the Music series. It's really corny, but at times it's cute and even got an amused smile or two out of me. Also, the band smeared beans all over themselves at one point, which was really scary. I had to shut it off at that point. Rock Band 3 visual bugs. Rock Band 3's visuals can be a little funky sometimes, more so than any other game in the series. Characters can just be floating slightly above or even far above the stage, characters phasing through each other, instruments juddering in and out of the characters' hands. These oddities don't affect the gameplay at all, but they are just so weird and give Rock Band 3 its signature janky charm. It also helps that it doesn't happen all the time when playing. If it did, then yeah, not so charming anymore. There was never an official fix for these bugs by Harmonix, but there was a fan-made patch by Milo Hacks to fix the instruments phasing in and out of characters' hands. Writing on the Walls Rock Band Network. Now, I couldn't really find any source for this outside of the Iceberg author's comments on the Reddit thread, so I'll be going off of that once again. The Under Oath song Writing on the Walls was originally intended to be released as a song on the Rock Band network, but it seems Harmonix had bigger things in mind for the song, since it ended up getting released on the music store as official DLC in 2010. I'm not sure how much weight that holds, but another Under Oath song did get released on the Rock Band network a year later, so maybe it was possible? Hashtag Team Toto. In June of 2016, Harmonix said that they'd be releasing a song from the band Toto as DLC for Rock Band 4. But instead of a straightforward release, they decided to have a little fun with it. There were two possible choices: Africa or Hold the Line. Harmonix then left it up to the fans, specifically the ones on the official Rock Band forums, to fight over which one deserves that spot, with the hashtags #TeamAfrica and #TeamHoldTheLine used to state their allegiance. Even though it was a competition for which song would get in, everyone was having fun with it. There were even like these cute specially made borders for people to put on their profile pictures and everything. And after the dust had finally settled, the only one left standing was Africa, which was released the following month. The losing team still got a consolation prize, as the other choice, Hold the Line, ended up being released the following year. So I guess everyone was a winner. New Wave lyrics. New Wave by Playmo is a DLC song that was also included on the on-disc setlist for Rock Band 1's European release. It was one of the exclusive songs that was in a foreign language, specifically French. Due to this, the song was able to squeak into the game practically uncensored. It's nothing really crazy, translated lyrics just show a few F-words being thrown around, or at least the French equivalent of the F-word. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but still worth talking about. Triplet. Triplet is a song that was featured on the original Guitar Hero as a track only playable with the use of a cheat device. It was composed by Andy Buck. Sorry if I butchered that, an employee of Harmonix and QA tester of Guitar Hero 1. According to ancient legend, Andy snuck the song in and was promptly fired for the act of defiance. You know, that's what it says on the wiki, so I'm just going off of that. The song would eventually make its way to Rock Band Network with a new recording and full band charting, finally making it legitimately playable for the first time ever. Canary Coal Mine. Canary by Coal Mine was a Rock Band Network song that existed solely to test the service. It was a silent track that consisted of only a single green note on guitar. And there it was, that was the whole song. Blink and you miss it, right? Supposedly, it was available to purchase for a moment before it being taken down for obvious reasons. If you were able to buy it or perform some weird URL trickery, as the YouTube account Team Aftermath did, then it was yours. Fascinating, but I don't know how I'd feel about spending $1 on literally one green note. But I am also the dude that spent $1 to get a Taco Bell burrito with nothing in it, so who am I to talk? Rose of Jericho, Freefall. This song, as far as I can tell from my research, is the last ever song ever released for Rock Band Network, and it was released as late as January 2014, about 8 months before the service itself was shut down. Now, while that is incredibly interesting on its own, there is another very interesting factoid about this band. They were also a part of the Rock Band community on YouTube. Their YouTube channel has numerous videos about the Rock Band series, some that I've actually watched as a kid, like the Pro Guitar ones. So that's really cool to see. That is honestly like the dream of nearly every creative person inspired by something, like myself. Atlas, baby, if you want to make some Shin Megami Tensei movies, TV shows, or anything creative of the sort, let me know. I got my inbox wide and open for you, baby. 3 versions of Gemini. Gemini by Brian Kahanek is a Rock Band Network song, seeing a bit of a pattern here, but it's a song that had 3 different versions of it on the store. These came about due to supposedly less than stellar charting, so when it was not seen as fit to stay up on the store, it would get pulled, then put back up after the chart was quote-unquote fixed. Honestly, compared to all of the other tragic losses that came from pulled Rock Band Network songs, it's a miracle that this one managed to not only get so many extra chances, but also it got to stay on the store after the fact. Days Go By Alt version. Days Go By The Offspring is a DLC song that has an alternate mix used for the game. The differences are rather minimal, mostly in the vocals, which leads me to believe that this may have been an earlier mix or even a demo that they sent over to Harmonix. Despite the differences being small, if you were someone who has listened to the song many times and then decided to play it on vocals, I can imagine it being a bit of a pain to sing. Kinda like how live versions can be annoying to sing in these games. Bladder of Steel. Bladder of Steel is an achievement in Rock Band 2 that revolves around the endless setlist challenge of that game. But it doesn't simply require you to beat the endless setlist too, it requires you to beat it without pausing at all. That means playing the game for over 6 hours straight without taking a single break. This also counts things too, such as accidentally pressing the console's home button or your controller's batteries dying, both consequently pausing the game. It is an absurdly demanding achievement, up there with only around 3% of Rock Band 2 players having it. It's low, but that still seems like a surprisingly high percentage to me considering what that entails. I mean, I guess you could just cheese it by playing it on easy, but that still feels like stolen valor. If you're gonna go this hard on an achievement, you probably should go all the way. Worstcase.mid. This is a leftover file that was found on the disc of Rock Band 1. It consists of a note chart of random notes for each instrument with a vocal chart from Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden. It's an obvious testing doodad, but that's not what makes it special. What makes it special is the audio track that's attached to it, which is an unused Wave Group cover of The Who's Behind Blue Eyes. This is so interesting because the song itself, while not making it into the on-disc setlist, did make it in as DLC in the form of a master track. So, just a game theory, but maybe Worstcase.mid could be implying that Harmonix wanted to get Behind Blue Eyes on the first game's setlist, but couldn't secure the license for the master track, so they had this cover version as a last resort. A worst case scenario. Kinda like the Country Road situation. Which is still weird since they did get another Who song on the setlist as a master track, so I don't know, dude. The cover itself is actually really competent, and I would say probably one of the better Wave Group covers in these games, Rock Band and Guitar Hero included. If I only had this version and not the original, I wouldn't even really complain. Bandmates. Back during the Rock Band 2 days, Harmonix decided to go hard on advancing the whole role-playing aspect of being in a band. You could go on the Rock Band website and get pictures taken of your in-game band, have merch made out of them like buttons, stickers, posters, and shirts, and the holy grail of them all, Bandmates. Bandmates are little custom 6-inch models that you could have made of yours or whatever in-game band member that you wanted. Their posing was very limited, but outside of that limitation, they looked exactly how you styled them and with whatever instrument that you gave them. The craftsmanship is not the best, this was 2008 era 3D printing, but the novelty of seeing your band member in person was enough to look past it. They costed around $69, which is a not so nice price. That is literally more than the game itself, but considering the nature of it all, I think it makes some sense for the price. They didn't last past Rock Band 2 and were swiftly forgotten, but they did show up in the Rock Band board game video, so maybe not truly forgotten. Smashing Pumpkins Rock Band Network. When Rock Band Network was made available to the general public in 2010, the Smashing Pumpkins were name-dropped as one of up to 300 bands that were expected to make an appearance on the service in the future. This was significant because they were a band with not just past DLC, but they also appeared on disc, with Share Up Rock on Rock Band 1 and Today on Rock Band 2. They had history with the series, so their presence on Network was highly anticipated. But it looks like plans fell through like usual with the Rock Band Network, and they fell through hard since the band never made another appearance in the series, except for a rewind DLC for Share Up Rock in 2022, literally over a decade later. Sad. Gypsy Queen. Gypsy Queen is a song by the Hungarian-American artist Gabor Sabo. It was famously covered by the band Santana for a medley with a cover of Fleetwood Mac's Black Magic Woman. Being a medley, the two songs are presented as a single song, and this is how the general public knows it as. But in 2011, when Black Magic Woman was made available as DLC for Rock Band 3, that was it. Gypsy Queen was nowhere to be found, with the song ending right before it even began. Its absence was due to, and let's all say it together, licensing issues. These two cover songs requiring licensing and permissions from 3 separate bands probably made getting both either a nightmare or horrifically expensive, so they likely chose to get Black Magic Woman alone to make it just easier on them. But internally, Harmonix had more ambitious plans in mind. On that same Wii prototype for Rock Band 3 we talked about for Don't Stop Believing's key chart, a version of Black Magic Woman was discovered with Gypsy Queen on it. It was fully charted on all instruments and had proper stems and everything. That is crazy, but what's even crazier is that this was supposed to be a DLC song, but here it is on a prototype over a year before it was made available, with charts that are mostly the same. Perhaps the medley was intended to be on disc for Rock Band 3, but licensing difficulties just made it impossible, so it was pushed back to 2011. PV Shark Controller. This is a custom guitar controller made in collaboration with the audio equipment and instrument company PV Electronics and the artist Jimmy Buffett. It featured a wood body in the shape of a shark and was primarily themed around Buffett's brand Land Shark Lager. The Shark controller was featured alongside the Shark Cart, which was also made by PV. The Shark Cart was a portable rock band setup that Jimmy Buffett and his crew carted around to his concerts, setting up in venue parking lots where fans could go and kill time. PV also apparently took commissions for custom wood guitar controllers where you could upload any design that you wanted, within reason of course, and then they just make it for you. But I digress. Due to their intended use as a part of the Shark Cart, the Shark controllers were thought to be limited in numbers around maybe 4 to 10, according to various sources. However, numerous guitars have shown up on places like eBay and even Goodwill, so their numbers are likely higher than that. Unbelievable has Supposedly, the re-recording of Unbelievable by EMF contains the F word in its appearance as DLC, and I am honestly at a loss here. According to the Iceberg author, it's in the sample at the beginning of the song, where comedian Andrew Dice Clay says, "What the f*** was that?" But the F word was cut out from that. Even looking throughout the whole song, the F word is never slipped in at any point, which is the same as it was in the original version of the song. So, in conclusion, Unbelievable does not has f***. I've considered leaving this off the Iceberg due to being incorrect, but I decided that debunking it would have been the better call. 3s and 7s. This is a song by Queens of the Stone Age that was released as one of the very first DLC songs for Rock Band 1. Like Days Go By, 3s and 7s appears as an earlier version of the song, which was previously made available on the Queens of the Stone Age MySpace page. It has different vocals as well as different lyrics in a few portions of the song. The same version of the song also appeared in Guitar Hero 3, where it appeared in the main setlist. No clue why Harmonix and Neversoft decided to use the earlier version, since the song and the album it was a part of released several months before the games came out. Rock Band 3 Arcade Scores. In the arcade venue of Rock Band 3, your band plays in front of a few arcade game cabinets. And if you look very closely at the screens of the cabinets, you'll see that Harmonix managed to sneak in some very naughty player names and scores. Unbelievable may have not had but these game screens certainly do, my lord. The Future Soon is unofficial, official DLC. The Future Soon is a song by Jonathan Colton and is one of, if not the only song on Rock Band Network to be authored by Harmonix themselves. At a PAX 2009 panel, Harmonix and Jonathan Colton himself went into depth on the origins of Rock Band Network and, most importantly, broke down the process of what it's like to make a song for the service. They showed off the charting and the instrument stems, how they added the information and metadata and album art for the song, and what to price the game at. I couldn't find video for everything at the panel, but Harmonix uploaded, I believe, the first half of it to their official YouTube channel, as well as the crowd and Jonathan Coulton playing the Rock Band version together. Other users have also uploaded Jonathan Coulton playing the song live at said panel. Now we've reached the final entry of Tier 7, which takes us way back to the past before Rock Band was even a thing. And this entry we're talking about here is titled Welcome to the Jungle. In the very first footage ever shown off for Rock Band, when it was merely just a proof of concept at a trade show for investors, the game was demonstrated with 4 people playing a cover of the Guns N' Roses song Welcome to the Jungle in a delightfully enthusiastic manner. What's fascinating is that the song itself never showed up on the game's on-disc set list in the form of a master track or even as the cover featured in the video. This may have been around the same time as Guitar Hero 3's development, which also had the song as a master track, so maybe there was an exclusivity deal there that caused it to never appear in Rock Band 1. The years went on, and fans waited for the song to be included as an on-disc song or even as DLC for one of the games, and eventually we would end up reaching the end of Rock Band 4's life without an appearance by Welcome to the Jungle. Many people banked on it being the final song to send off the game series, circling back to it being the very first song to be demonstrated for it, but it was never meant to be. It wouldn't be until Fortnite Festival that we would finally get the song in a Harmonix-led game, alongside several other Guns N' Roses songs, a feat that hadn't been achieved since Rock Band 2, back in 2008. And with that entry for Welcome to the Jungle, we have finished up Tier 7. And, at least from what I can see right now, we have completed the entire Rock Band Iceberg. Wow, it's been a long time coming. Many years in the making. Most been procrastinating, I'm not gonna lie, but man, I can't believe it's over. And now that it is, I can't help but feel that it's not fully complete. My heart's just telling me that it isn't truly the end. My heart, as well as that deep, unending darkness. It's like it's calling to me. And I'm sorry, but I can't ignore it. I'm gonna make the executive decision here to move further past Tier 7 and see what we'll be able to find. It'll be dark, and it may even be scary, but don't worry, you are not alone. Now let's see what we'll find. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Not only has it been like a year and a half since part 1 of the Rock Band Iceberg came out, but you're also splitting the final part into 2 parts? That's some Twilight Harry Potter bullshit right there, dude. And I do sincerely apologize. First, for the absurdly long wait for part 2, and second, for the fact that I did pretty much lie about how there's only going to be 2 parts. I think I stated early on that I wanted this iceberg to be 2 parts and nothing more, and yeah, I really went and backpedaled there, and I am sorry for that. I do have a few reasons why I ended up making this a trilogy though, if you're willing to hear me out. 1. The second half of this iceberg proved to be way too long. If I had made it a single video for part 2, it would have been like 2 hours long or something, which is great for people that like that stuff, but that length, at least to me, is absurd. I envisioned the 2 original parts being around the same length, maybe longer for part 1 since it's supposed to establish everything going forward. So if part 2 was just one video, it'd be all like lopsided and bottom heavy. So I'm choosing to make it 2 parts instead to ease off the weight. Especially since part 3, which will solely be the final tier of the iceberg, that part is a mammoth, dude. That tier alone needs some room for itself to breathe. Also, I'm just gonna say it because I'd be lying to myself if I didn't. I want to try and make the Rock Band Iceberg go on for just a little bit longer. These are things that take a lot of work, and I want it to last longer than just a single video, just one and done, that's it. If I knew just how long these tiers would get, especially in part 2 and 3, I probably would have made each tier its own video. But we are far past that, and you guys don't deserve to have the format changed that drastically late into the game, so I'm more than willing to compromise here. That way, we'll be able to get 2 videos out, meaning a bit more engagement and more number big grow on phone screen. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear it. It's super duper cringe to have to listen to someone kissing the ass of YouTube and its algorithm, but it's just the truth. It's just the truth, and I don't really want to dance around it. I want to do what I can to try and cultivate the channel. I want to try and make it something sustainable for myself, and I want to try to keep a somewhat consistent flow of videos coming. And after the Rock Band Iceberg has consumed all of my time, leaving me unable to work on other video ideas, cutting this into 2 parts just helps out a little. And that's all I really need. And it's not like anyone is going to have to wait another 5 years until part 3. When you're seeing this, part 2, if you're seeing this the day that it comes out, part 3 has been finished a long time ago and probably available for like members or something, or like I set it up for a premiere or whatever. I'm probably not even going to be looking at my computer or anything like right now. I might be on like my 5th day vacationing in the Bahamas while you're watching this. Just kidding, I can't afford that. A vacation at my local swimming pool. Nah, I'm just kidding. I can't afford that either. I'm gonna have to be in my bathtub. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, this outro has gone on for far too long. If you watched all the way to this point, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am not owed your attention, yet you still gave it to me, and for that, I am eternally appreciative. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it and maybe subscribing to the channel if you wanna. No pressure, of course, and I don't mind it being like a one-night stand. But yeah, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching part 2 of the Rock Band Iceberg. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon for part 3. Wolf397 out.